And I'm going to reshare, I should say, the welcome song, and then I'm going to share the story of the raven and the raven song, because the raven is the trickster, and it's been that kind of a day. So this is Miesin, again from the Nataha family of Sturgeon Lake Cree Nation, just to welcome everybody into the circle today. We do sing it in rounds of 3 to keep that circle open so everyone completes the circle today. Because in the circle we're all connected. And so, yeah, this is Mia Sin, the Cree welcome song. Mia Sin, Mia Sin, ha semina, ha semina, e pentakote. Wagomagan Hota Homa Kitaskino Miasen Miasen Hasemina Hasemina e petakote niwagomagan hota homa kitaskino miasen Miasen Hasemina Hasemina E petakote Wagomagan Hota Homa Kitaskino. Hi, and welcome to the circle today. So I'm going to just quickly share the story of the raven, who, of course, is the trickster in many of our mythologies, but before he became the trickster, he looked very, very different indeed. And so this song is Oji Cree song is the Rainbow Raven story, and the Rainbow Raven's song, which is actually, as my cousin calls it, Cherokee, because he's Cherokee and Cree. And yeah, I heard this song and I was like, oh my gosh, I love that song, and it stuck in my head. And I find that if songs are meant for you, they'll stay with you. And so I did the legwork and had to track him down, and then finally I did. And he's like, oh yeah, okay, well, where are you from? And I'm like, well, I'm Cree from Muskeg Lake. He's like, oh, who's your family? And I said, Gray Eyes. He's like, oh, we're cousins. And I'm like, oh, of course we are, because we're Cree and we're related to everybody. But his mom is actually from our reserve, and his dad was Cherokee, and so this is why he was in the States. But he said he'd learned it from both sides of his family, so it is a Cherokee song, and the story is a little bit different. There's so many different stories of the raven, but I do enjoy this one because it really does teach us about humility. So a long, long, long time ago, before we were created, the two-leggeds, the different animals had to learn how to live on the land. They had to learn different things that they were going to teach us, different lessons that they were going to share with us. And so the raven looked very, very different indeed. He had beautiful rainbow feathers. No matter which way you looked at him, he was just a different shimmering color of rainbow. And because of this, he started to catch his reflection in different puddles and different ponds and in lakes and in the streams, and he started to think, wow, I am gorgeous. I must be the most beautiful creature ever because I have all of these beautiful colors. And he thought, wow, maybe I'm the best because I am the most beautiful. And so he started walking around and telling all of the animals, hey guys, look at my feathers. I am shiny and rainbow and gorgeous and fabulous. I'm obviously the best animal. And all of the animals were Like, no, Raven, like nobody's greater or less than anyone else. Like, everybody has different things that we're going to learn from each other and different things that we're going to teach the two-legged, so we're all special in our own way. And the Raven said, except for me, because obviously I'm the most special, because look at me. Have you seen my feathers? Not only that, I'm really clever and I can fly. So obviously I'm the best animal. And so he started walking around telling all of the animals and all of the plants and all of the bugs and everything that he was the best. And so they started losing faith in who they were. And so all of the animals and plants and everyone just stopped doing what made them amazing. The pollinators stopped pollinating, the ants and the wasps stopped cleaning up, all of the beavers stopped cutting down the trees, and this just caused a whole bunch of havoc. Because of course everybody needs to do their job or else the whole world falls apart. Now the bear, he woke up and came out and looked around and said, whoa, 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 wait a second, what is going on here? What is happening? Why is the whole world falling apart? And so he went and he asked the beaver, he said, Beaver, why aren't you cutting down trees? Look at all these thirsty little critters because you haven't been backing up the water to make still ponds. Medicine's not growing and all of the little animals they don't have a place to drink. What is happening? And the beaver said, well, the raven said that he was better than everyone else, and so everybody thought if they weren't special, why should they even try? And the bear said, well, that's ridiculous. Nobody's better than anyone else. Everybody has different things that they're going to learn, different lessons that they get to carry with them, different things we get to teach the two-leggeds. Nobody's better or less. You know what? I'll go talk to the raven. But look at the world around us. Everyone does an incredible job, and when we don't, the whole world falls apart. And as the animals and the plants and the insects looked around and they saw that everything was just collapsing, they said, whoa, you're right, Bear. We gotta get back to doing what makes us amazing. Plus, we were pretty bored not doing anything that we liked. And so they got back to doing what made them incredible. And so the bear lumbered over to the raven and said, Raven, what's your problem? You're making everybody feel bad. And everybody stopped doing what's made them amazing. And the raven said, well, it's not my problem. They feel bad because obviously I'm the best animal and nobody compares to me, so they shouldn't even try. And the bear said, that's ridiculous, Raven. Nobody's greater or less than anyone else. We all have different things that we get to learn. We have different things that we get to teach. We have different things that we're wonderful at and great at. And the raven said, except for me, because I just have to be the most amazing, fabulous, wonderful, and best animal that I am. And the bear said, Raven, you're not the best. And the raven said, well, of course I'm the best. Look at me. I'm a rainbow, and gorgeous, and smart, and fabulous, and I can fly. And the bear went back and forth with the raven, saying, no, you're not. And of course, the raven was convinced that he was the best animal. And finally, the bear just got fed up with arguing and said, okay, fine. Raven, if you're the best animal, only the best animal can catch the sun. But of course, no animal could catch the sun. But the raven, who even though he was remarkably clever, wasn't thinking straight because he was too busy trying to prove that he was the best, said, yeah, of course I could catch the sun. I'm the best animal. I'm going to go catch the sun right now. And so without thinking, the raven flew higher and higher and higher. And as he did, he got a little warmer and warmer because it was getting a little toasty close to the sun. And he continued to fly higher and higher, determined to prove that he was the best animal. And he got warmer and warmer, and his feathers started to smoke. Well, that's awkward, but he was convinced he had to prove that he was the best, so he flew higher and higher and higher until his feathers burst into flames. He was like, oh my gosh, I'm on fire! And as he was tamping himself down, he crashed into the ocean, which, as he pulled himself to the shore, he looked down at his beautiful rainbow feathers, and they weren't rainbow anymore. They were completely burned, completely black, and he was mad. How could the bear play such a trick on him? And so he started marching angrily over to the bear. Well, actually, he's a bird, so he started hopping angrily over to the bear. And along his path, he passed all of the animals and the plants and the bugs that he had made feel bad. And he watched them do what made them amazing. He watched the pollinators went from plant to plant to plant and helped everything bloom and grow, and he thought, wow, that was amazing. He watched as some of the seed pods burst on the breeze and carried their seeds. He thought, wow, that's a really smart delivery system. He watched as the ants and the wasps started cleaning up the ground, as the ants worked together to carry things that were so much heavier than themselves. But together they were able to move them. And he thought, wow, that's really amazing and incredible. And you guys are stronger than I would have ever thought because you're so tiny. And as he watched those beautiful wasps start to clean away all of that debris and the leaves and the dead wood, he watched as they created these masterpieces of their nests. And he thought, wow, that's incredible. He heard a really loud buzzing behind him, and he looked and he saw that not only were the bees pollinating, but they were actually making honey, which the bear really loved. And so no wonder the bear was so upset. And then he continued on his path, and he heard a loud crack and a crash, and he turned and he saw the beaver cutting down trees. And as he watched the beaver use all of her strength to take that huge tree that she had just cut down to create a dam, he watched as the water backed up behind the river and created a little inlet. And all of these teeny tiny little animals were drinking from the water. And all of the plants, those sacred medicines that only grow in that wet, swampy soil, started to take shape and take hold. He thought, wow, Beaver, that's amazing. And as he walked along, he saw how all of the plants and all of the animals and all of the bugs and everyone worked and had incredible gifts to share. And he thought, wow, you are all really special. And he looked down at his own feathers, and he sighed, and he started to feel bad. He said, but I'm not special at all. And he started to feel really awful for making everyone feel that way. And so as he went on his path towards the bear, he apologized to all of the animals that he had made feel bad. He said, everyone, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I made you feel like you were less than amazing, because you guys are all amazing in your own way. And so he continued on his path. And by the time he got to the bear, he wasn't angry anymore. He was sad. And he apologized to everyone. And he said, Bear, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I made everyone else feel bad. And I'm sorry that I thought I was better than them. But Bear, look at me. I'm not special anymore. And the bear said, Raven, you're really special because you learned a really important lesson. You learned about humility. And the raven looked at the bear and said, humility? What's that? And the bear said, well, humility is the ability to know that we're not better or worse than anyone else. It's to know that we're good at our own things, but to be humble about it, to take it easy, to not take ourselves too seriously. Because Raven, you took yourself too seriously, and you got a little bit in trouble. And the Raven started to think about that a little bit. Humility. And then he thought about the trick that the bear played on him. And then he thought about that trick was actually pretty funny. And if the Raven wasn't taking himself so seriously, he would have known better than to fly towards the sun. And so for the first time ever, the Raven got his voice, and he started laughing. And he said, you're right, Bear. Humility. I am going to teach all of the two-leggeds, all of the four-leggeds, all of the flyers, all of the swimmers, everyone about humility by playing tricks on them, because that is how I learned about humility. And still to this day, every time we look at a raven's feather, it still has a little shimmer of rainbow to remind him to stay humble. And so that is the raven story. I have a different drum today, so this is one of my freshest drums. I just made this actually not too long ago. This is made of elk, and yeah, I'm going to play her to share the raven song. And feel free to sing along with me at home. It's broken down into three parts: a part that we sing all together, a part where we let out a happy sound, and then the part that's a call and response. And here we go. Oh, and somebody asked about classes. Yes, I am in the process of unpacking my house, and I am hoping to do some classes hopefully by the end of the month. I'm not quite sure if it's going to be a drum class or if it's going to be a rattle class, but I guess we'll see how the progress goes in my place. But yes, I'm hoping to do one by the end of the month. I've been thinking about the laughing song a lot lately, which is probably a good thing because I think we need to laugh if we need to heal. So it's really, really important. So yeah, this is the laughing song. It was originally brought forward by the Four Winds Singer, so I thank them for actually recording it. But yeah, I think it's really important to honor where those songs have come from. And so, yes, this is the laughing song. It reminds us, again, not to take ourselves too seriously, that everything will happen in its own due time, and yeah, just to really roll with the punches, appreciate the things that you do have, and don't stress about the things that you don't. Way high yo, way high, high yo, way ho, way ho, way yo, way ho, way ho, way yo, way yo, way yo, way high yo, way high, high yo, way ho, way ho, way yo, way ho. So this song, I'm going to sing Wende Aho, which is the Four Directions song. I've been really thinking about just more global. There's a lot of things going on across Turtle Island. But there's a lot of things going on globally, and we're in this time of transition. We're in transitioning. Our technologies, I think, are surpassing our humanity, and I think it's important to understand that as First Nations people, we are directly connected to the earth. We know that this time is a time where we can come back to those traditional ways of knowing. We are on that crossroads. There's so many prophecies about this time. And I'm just really thankful and humbled that I might have the ability to work with other Indigenous communities, not only across Turtle Island, but across the world, because I think having everyone's voices come together is so important, and recognizing that we are so much more similar than we are different, that we are all connected to Mother Earth. She is all of our mothers. This is why we say all my relations, is because we are all related. But Mother Earth will be fine without us. We need her to survive, though, so this is why it's important to respect and honor her and acknowledge her and recognize the relationship that we need to maintain with the plants and the animals and all of our relations. And so, yeah, this is why this song's really been on my heart and on my mind lately. Because I was thinking about the struggles that are happening down in Brazil with the First Nations people down there. They're trying to take away First Nations sovereignty and First Nations rights and land rights specifically, and it was all in the name of industry. And this is something we need to stand up against, because we know firsthand up here the damage and the destruction that can happen to Mother Earth. And we also need to stop it here, but we need to do it as a combined effort of all people around the world, for all of our future generations, because our future generations are losing pace, and there's not going to be a world for them to come to. And so this is why it's really important to stand up and acknowledge all of our relations. So this I sing to honor all of the First Nations people around the world. This is known as the Four Directions song, or the Four Winds song. It's also known as Wende Aho. It was brought forth from Robbie Robertson and Ulali, just really wonderful group. I love their harmonies when they sing together. It's just incredible. It makes me wish I had some backup harmony people, because this would be like an awesome way to learn more songs together. But yeah, this is the Cherokee Morning Song, also known as the Four Directions song, the Four Winds song, so that you can hear the wind. Wende Aho, Wende Aho, Wende Aho, Wende Aho. Oh, 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 yeah, 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 yeah. Wende Aho, Wende Aho, Wende Aho, Wende Aho. Oh, 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 yeah, 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 yeah. Wende Aho, Wende Aho, Wende Aho, Wende Aho. Oh, 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 yeah, 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 yeah. Wende Aho, Wende Aho, Wende Aho, Wende Aho. Oh, 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 yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, with that, I'm going to share the rain song now too, because I just got like the sense of smell of rain. Okay, sorry, not the rain song, the water song. And so the water song, it I know it is the rain song, because when I hear the water song, that's what I hear. I hear the rain coming down, and then the thunder and the lightning, but that's probably because my name is she who dances and sings with spirits in a storm. So I always have an affinity for storms. My cousin, she always hears a river. She was basically born in a canoe, I say, because she is always, always, always on the river, always canoeing, always fishing, always just being there, being with the river, which is so beautiful. So she hears the river, so she calls it the river song. And then my other cousin, who is in Vancouver, she always hears the ocean rocking back and forth, and the waves crashing, and just the teachings behind the ocean medicine that she's learned living out there. And so when we were arguing about that, my aunt came up behind us and she's like, "What's wrong with you girls? It's the water song." So we were all correct. It is the water song. And I love this song because you get to go faster and faster and faster, but it teaches us about, how sacred water is and how it gives us life. It's that thing that connects our community. We need water to survive, but everything needs water to survive. The plants need water, the animals need water, we all do. And so it's really about honoring and respecting all of the water, all of our relations, but also reminding us of our emotions that are liquid. This is why we have to honor our emotions, and we have to let them out sometimes. They come out as water, and this is okay. It's important to honor our tears. And this song reminds us that, our emotions aren't just like one keel all the time. They have that ebb and flow. They have that rocking back and forth. Sometimes they come in waves. Sometimes they come in like crashes of thunder. But no matter what, we need to acknowledge them, because that's what makes us who we are. That's how we have strong families and strong relationships and strong friendships, is because of our emotions. And so it's a gift to be able to have those things. And so this is the water song. And this song is, I believe the Otominquay singers share it on YouTube. I learned it in Lodge by one of my elders, who has passed on. Actually, two of them actually have shared this song. But Sharon is one of them, and Olive is another. And I really miss them. They've been on my heart and in my mind a lot lately, so I'm really thankful that I got to spend that time with them before they did pass. But yeah, this is the Anishinaabe water song. Wishita do ya, Wishita do ya day. 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 We shot ya, hey ya, hey ya. We shot ya, hey ya, hey. We shot ya, hey ya, hey ya. We shot ya, hey ya, hey. We shot ya, hey ya, hey ya. We shot ya, hey ya, hey. We shot ya, hey ya, hey ya. We shot ya, hey ya, hey. Wishita do ya, Wishita do ya day. 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 We shot ya, hey ya, hey ya. We shot ya, hey ya, hey. We shot ya, hey ya, hey ya. We shot ya, hey ya, hey. We shot ya, hey ya, hey ya. We shot ya, hey ya, hey. We shot ya, hey ya, hey ya. We shot ya, hey ya, hey. Wishita do ya, Wishita do ya, do. Wishita do ya, Wishita do ya, song. I should know better. I started a little too quick, so I ended up going a little too quick in the middle. But yeah, so I'd like to share the Thunderbird song, because definitely the Thunderbird is needed. So is the rain. So I'm sending the prayers to any of the communities that are affected by a lot of the fires that are happening now. Fires that are a way to cleanse, and so before First Nations, we used to actually have controlled burns, and so these out of control fires would have never happened because there were already plots that had been burned intentionally, and they would actually act as buffer zones. And this is how our medicines would grow. This is how our ceremonies would happen. But unfortunately, because we're not allowed to do those traditional practices, while some of them are starting to come back, which is beautiful, we're getting into more and more trouble. And so I think it's really important to acknowledge the relationship that we have with that past, and how we can learn so much about sustainability and about how to live on the land from our ancestors. We just have to be able to go back to those teachings. And so the Thunderbird really honors that. It honors that connection that we have to our ancestors. It acknowledges, that we're always moving forward. We need to always move forward, because you can't go back. You can't turn back the hand of time. And so the Thunderbird knows that, even though it'll sometimes trip us up if we keep looking backwards. So thank you, Carolyn. But the Thunderbird is like fate or destiny. It's our ancestors that are pushing us forward and trying to give us direction, but it's also that internal Thunderbird, which is our intuition, which is never wrong, like ever. And so I really, this song, it humbles me. So anytime I'm like, oh, why did this happen? I have to really think of the Thunderbird and said, okay, what are the lessons that are here? If you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, making the same mistakes over and over and over again, eventually the Thunderbird is not going to be so subtle with its warnings and hit you with a truck, which is exactly what happened to me. But every time I sing this, it really reminds me that everything does happen for a reason, and there was a reason I was hit by a truck, because it put me on the path that I'm on now, even though it was really not comfortable, and even though I'm still struggling with a lot of physical ailments. Had it not been for that accident, I wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't, have my beautiful children. Well, like my beautiful girls that moved in, I wouldn't be on this path where I'm sharing drumming and singing and storytelling and making drums regularly, and I'm able to share not only culture but traditional art and knowledge and medicines, and it's such a beautiful path to be on, and I'm so thankful. And had it not been for that truck hitting me and the Thunderbird going, nope, enough with your you're not on the right path, go on this one, I wouldn't be here. So, and sometimes you have to look back at those really terrible things that happened and know that you can't change them, but you can learn from them, and you can grow from them, and you can move forward. And yeah, that's truly what the song's about. So this is the Thunderbird song. And for something that carries so much meaning, it is so short, and I learned it from a few of my different elders. I actually remember hearing it when I was growing up. I also remember hearing it from Carrie Moore. Olive Manitoba shared it with me once. Also, I'd heard it in Sharon's Lodge, and I can't remember who shared it, but yeah, it's just really been on my heart and my mind lately. But this is the Thunderbird song. It is Anishinaabe. And so I'm gonna share one more song, and I know I kind of started late, and then I got interrupted by the census person, but it's just been that kind of a day, and I need to go pick up my girl from her friend's place. So I am going to share with you the traveling song, so that we have good travels, a good path forward. It just reminds us that all paths, our path is not set in stone necessarily, but it does lead us to the right places that we need to be. It also reminds us that all roads lead to home, and home is where you make it, home is where you create it, and community is just that. So this is why we take on some of our friends as family. It really reminds us that big hit win. Coming home is really, really important. Having a place, a soft space to land, and so this is why it's always important to be able to welcome people into our circle and into our homes. And I'm really excited once I unpack my mess to be able to do that again. And so this is the traveling song. Again, I learned it from my elder, Sharon, and I also relearned it, I should say, from my friend Yolanda and my friend Ashley. So I'm so, so thankful that they came into my life to remind me and bring this song home. So this is the traveling song, Coming Home. Thank you so much, Beth, and thank you everybody for tuning in. Please feel free to share. Um, Maybe not the first version because I got interrupted by a census, but definitely a second part. I know I didn't smudge today, just because I wanted to kind of keep it short and sweet, but I'm hoping to be in a space with my technology working so that we're good to go for next week. Fingers crossed. Which everyone have a beautiful, beautiful week. Hi for tuning in, and yeah, I will see you all soon. Bye.